This video is brought to you by Knowledge at W.P. Carey, an online business resource published by the W.P. Carey School of Business at Arizona State University, and the Communications Institute, a nonprofit organization dedicated to the discussion of critical issues in society.
Low-skilled, low-educated immigrants have a role to play if they are working in this economy. Some people say they don't. Some people say, well, low-skilled, low-educated workers have nothing to offer. If they would stop and think for just 2 seconds, they would know that's not right. They're working for pay. So consumers are buying their products. So they're offering something. They're participating. They're adding value. Now, do we have too many? Let's let the economy decide that. When you do have too many, you can suppress the wages of low-skilled, native-born Americans, and that can be a problem. We have a lot of low-skilled, low-educated, native-born people, and when there are too many people from foreign countries with equal skills and equal education, they may be, in fact, willing to work for a little bit less, and wages will fall. And we have to be concerned about that. Even so, my organization, the Heritage Foundation, has conducted a number of studies about the role that low-skilled, low-educated immigrants play in the economy. And they play a positive role overall. If you were to completely reduce their number, well, let's just say not completely, because you can't possibly ever do that, but generally reduce their number, that would mean the economy would shrink significantly, and there would be a significant lower employment in the economy. So we need to make sure that we have a role for them to play, that they're here and constructively here. And yes, I think that they do have a positive role to play in the economy.
When it comes to skilled labor, the Harvard economist George Borjas has said that if there is more than a 10% concentration of immigrants within an industry, it will lower wages by as much as 3%. So there is some impact to wages. Now, in some industries, we simply have a lack of the people, of the age group, of the skill level, of the lack of education level. For instance, someone with less than a high school diploma or high school diploma, jobs that those people would take. We have a gap in our demographics. We don't have people of that category here to be able to do those jobs, which is a good thing. I'm glad U.S. citizens are not in that position. We rely on immigrants for that.
I will say that I think that it has an impact, a varied impact, depending on which industry you're talking about. Whether you're talking about low-skill wage earners or whether you're talking about high-skill wage earners. But I think, as many of the panelists noticed today, most of the immigrant labor coming into this country is complementary to the native workers that are already residents and citizens here.
They're filling gaps in the labor force, so they are making possible economic activity that would not otherwise happen. Certain industries that rely heavily on low-skilled workers are bigger than they would be if those workers weren't here. So what the studies really say is that rather than in the long run lowering wages, the increase in low-skilled workers changes the mix in the economy. So you have more hotels, more restaurants. For those of us who are aging baby boomers, it means more personal services around healthcare, caring for the elderly, that sort of thing. So the impacts are really in allowing economic activity that need low-skilled workers to be greater than it would be if they weren't here.
The study that we did in Texas examined the impact that immigrants had on the state's economy overall, and the net impact was positive. I want to say that we have a slightly different economic model than some of the other states in that we don't really have an income tax. What we have is a lot of user taxes, sales tax, consumption taxes, gasoline tax, property taxes. And in that economy, the money that immigrants brought to our state far exceeded what they took out of the state.
They fill a gap. Low-skilled and low-educated immigrants do fill a gap. We do need these people in our economy. Without them, we would have to take more skilled Americans and push them down the ladder and put them into those jobs.
Low-skilled immigrants help the U.S. economy by filling jobs that there simply are not enough Americans to fill, and they enable important sectors of the Arizona and national economy to meet the needs of their consumers. We're talking construction, retail, hospitality, service sectors, agriculture. There are crops rotting out in the fields today for lack of workers to harvest them. So the vast majority of American workers are somewhat better off when low-skilled workers can enter the country to do these jobs temporarily. Most of them eventually go back home, so they don't want to be here permanently, but they're performing important tasks in our economy. Right now, they just can't come in legally, and so we have large-scale illegal immigration.